could
The
put a
First
man on
Coast's
Mars.
most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by WeatherRate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Good afternoon, folks. I'm meteorologist Ross Mumal here for our 4 o'clock forecast, joined as always by Chief Meteorologist Tim
Howdy.
Deegan.
Making sure that we're sitting to our lungs are opened.
Yes, sitting straight up. Nice posture
Yeah,
here.
Andy makes sure that our lungs are open, or otherwise we hear from him.
Well, we start straight up, and we'll slowly just kind of slouch
Yeah,
as it goes.
Yeah.
Maybe the sunshine and the warmer temperatures here this afternoon might make you sit up a little bit straighter. Look at that, Tim.
Look at that.
And you can even see in the distance there on the eastern horizon some of those clouds continuing to move offshore
that
here.
upper level low. It went exactly as forecast, didn't it?
Yeah, that's one way to put it, I think.
Oh, my.
I will say, we did say yesterday that there was a chance for it to kind of wrap back up that circulation, and we kind of honed in on St. Johns County and Flagler counties to be the best chance to see actually some moderate to heavy rainfall early this morning for the morning commute. So we knew there was a chance. That's kind of what models were showing, and that's kind of the area we were honed in on.
However,
Just so happened that was like, 45, 50 miles further off to the north and northwest from where we had anticipated.
but probably a difference of maybe impacting, 800,000 more people.
Duval County, especially the northern half of Duval County,
so
Nassau
maybe not that
County.
much, but yeah.
We got a lot of rain. I live up by the airport, and over the last 2 days, we're getting into the rainfall totals well over an inch. So when I took my dog for a walk and we're kind of going out into the field to play, he's just leaping through the puddles.
As Enzo does.
Yes, it's his favorite hobby.
Hey, I wanted to share a little bit, Ross, just from the perspective, and I know you've heard this, but to me this is what happened is a classic example, and I promise this is not me making excuses, but as much as I do believe that having experience in a local place is extremely valuable, I do think, and see if this makes sense, I do think when it comes to the fact that computer models continue to improve, it can almost be a hindrance, and here's why. Folks, when I first started, there was one computer model, and it was interesting, cool that we had them, but they just were not good at all. Even, and especially for an event like we just had, where the ocean is, and at some point the ocean is going to help pump a lot of moisture into this system. We call it an upper level low that maybe traveled for a big part of the continent without having much moisture with it, but hard to figure out where it's going to be. And anyhow, when we first started, or when I first started, it was interesting to have the computer models, but we really focused more on where do we think that computer model is most wrong, okay? For lack of better words. Then as life went on and the computer models got better, it's been a slow learn for me to realize, especially within 24 hours, those computer models can really nail it. Therefore, this is what happens, is I bit totally for the fact that, yes, it's going to nail it for St. John's and Flagler. Now, I do remember last night by 7 p.m., and so, folks, if you don't know our schedule, by 7 p.m., I'm basically giving the same forecast for about the 8th time. And there was part of my brain, and maybe this is part of the whole ad-libbing part, where as we're talking, our brain can be thinking other things, right, Russ?
Yeah.
And I do remember during I think the 7 p.m. broadcast, part of my brain was going, why are you so confident it's just going to hit St. John's and Flagler County? Now, I never adjusted anything, right? But to me, it's another great lesson of that, yes, the computer models are so much better than they used to be, but obviously they're not perfect.
And I mean, they were far off, so to speak, locally for us, but really they had an idea.
Yes. Pretty amazing, really. I mean, if you think about it, like I was looking at what we call the southeast grid of the GFS. And so that goes from Texas to east of the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And North Carolina south. So you're looking at it from that vantage point, did a darn good job. But
yeah, especially when you consider the grid that it's forecasting on for one point is however many miles. I mean, probably hundreds of miles.
Yeah. Anyhow, folks, I promise we're not making excuses. It's just another interesting thing of just sometimes when you convince yourself, yeah, we're going to go exactly with the models, you're reminded, oh. And you know, another thing I was thinking about, Ross, and this is not to hopefully not get us too far ahead or have people stress out. I used that as a reminder of, as much as hurricane forecasting is getting better, I'm thinking about, suppose whenever that day comes that the big one's coming in from the Atlantic, and 20 miles matter as far as that eye wall, right?
Yeah.
And although, of course, today's event, a different type of animal than the tropical, but still, when you're trying to get down to 20 miles, it's very dependent on what is happening at 30,000 feet and 15,000 feet. Let me put it this way. It reminded me of, got to make sure, even in this day and age in which the forecast models have gotten so much better, a little humility in just where things are going to go.
And a reminder that you have to always look at the whole picture, right? Not just what's in the foreground or what's in the background.
It's all connected, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All of it is tied together here. Well, big story here for the rest of this evening, at least, is now that all of that has pushed offshore. So the last of the rain kind of just moving off to the southeast over the Gulf Stream. Few lingering thunderstorms have also dwindled out there as well. So drying skies for us. Here's a quick look at what some of the rain totals have been over the last 48 hours. So Jacksonville, and this is specifically for the airport itself, just over 1.25 inches. Mayport just under 1 inch. Fernandina Beach, hot spot there, 1.5 inches here over the last 2 days. McClenny out there in Baker County, just over 1 inch. So we were at a deficit for rainfall here in February, Tim. For a lot of us, that has slowly begun to be eroded away.
Chunk. I mean, during the summer, we can get that much in 1 hour in a thunderstorm. But during the winter, I think that's about a half a month's worth of.
Yeah, because I think our average for February comes out to like 2 something.
Yeah.
It's less than 3 inches. And even in March, then I think it's maybe 3.5 inches for the whole month. So yeah, this is typically our dry season, so to speak. And a pretty solid soaking array there. So that's moving offshore. Just want to show the quick visible satellite here to show that you got lots of blue sky and sunshine out there here now for the rest of this evening.
Lots of confidence. Wow.
Allowing those temperatures to warm up. Check it out.
They
73
did rebound in a big way.
73 in Lake City, even 69 in Mayport. So after a dreary start for many of us and still on the cooler side, it's turned out to be a pretty nice day out there, Tim.
Boy, that is for sure. And
the temperature changed from this time yesterday. I mean, 20 degrees warmer.
And that doesn't even talk about the wind chill, right?
Yeah.
And the nice thing is, I think, is that it is more than a hint. It is a major indicator, at least as far as sky conditions, for probably our next 5 days, right? Sunny skies?
Yeah, we got a lot of sun here in the forecast for over the next several days into the weekend.
There it is.
I mean, it was a big system, big upper level low there.
Massive system, and but it was that little part there on the right with the upper level low that
on that western edge.
Yep,
is where Tim's talking about there.
Duval and Nassau County.
I want to take another quick look just up to our northwest. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, just a quick kind of update on it. We had that huge upper level low. What did you say it was down to?
Down to 978 millibars. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Was bringing heavy rain to portions of coastal Oregon and Washington, a lot of snow to the Cascade Mountain Range there across those states. That's continuing to push inland here now. So they do still have some winter storm watches and warnings in effect for the Cascades and for also northern Idaho and western Montana. So still some issues, but not nearly as prevalent as it has been. But this is the time of year, if you're a skier or a snowboarder, Tim, to maybe head out towards the Rockies. Snowpack for a lot of these, big ski resorts, whether you're in the Tetons in Wyoming or I mentioned yesterday kind of up in Big Sky country there near Bozeman in Montana. You're talking 4, 5, 6 feet of a snowpack.
That's a pretty good pack. That's a pretty good pack. Now, on the other
Salt Lake
hand,
City,
as you know, that pack is melting. And I was just checking out that if you're to put Big Sky country, that is Montana, into 4 quarters, the northeastern corridor, every single county is under a flood advisory because of the snow melt that they're getting. Also wanted to mention why you have this Pacific Northwest, for those who care about the ocean. They're used to getting big surf up there. With that said, there's a surf advisory for the Washington coast, surf today of 25 to 30 feet.
Wow.
So that probably means, and that's like pure scientific 25 to 30. So that probably means as it's actually hitting the beaches, there's probably some 50-foot.
Yeah, even higher than
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Wow, could you surf that too?
I don't know if I ever could, but certainly not at this point with my Medicare card. No, no.
I don't believe that for
No,
a second.
and never. No, I'm serious. I would let others. Besides the fact, and this is what does amaze me about people, even as far to the south as Mavericks, which is off the San Francisco coast. It's cold water. That water's right now probably upper 40s to lower 50s. So not only is it huge, you're wearing a wetsuit and.
So I was going to say, you're going to need the wetsuit for that.
I'm impressed with anybody who does it. I'll tell you that.
All right, well, bringing it back home here then, as we take a quick update on that. We'll have clear skies kind of the rest of tonight. Warmer weather tomorrow, although we could see a little bit of a foggy start. So clear skies, if you're talking, let's say, 1,000 feet up. But right at the surface, we're going to watch for some patchy fog to develop. I don't think it'll be dense fog everywhere. I think it'll be a key on how close that temperature and dew point can get. We have overnight lows down into the upper 40s, which could be very, very close to where the dew point is, so we'll have to watch for that. Other key thing here is, yes, we have clear skies, but also very calm winds. So pretty stable environment here tonight, which is why we're going to be watching for some fog. They're not putting out any dense fog advisories, and even the models are kind of struggling on even trying to depict. I didn't show any model data there simply because it really wasn't showing any fog developing.
That's a great description you have there. For those of you who haven't heard that description before, don't worry. It's not radiation fog. It's not dangerous. It really has to do with the radiational heat that came in from the sun earlier than is allowed to escape. And so you get this cool inversion. But yeah, it is going to be interesting to see because, speaking of the computer models, because with that rain and calm winds, it does sort of like if we didn't have.
Because there's a lot of moisture on the ground right now.
If we didn't have computer models, I would say that's a pretty classic setup. And as we talked about earlier, the official forecast is that the fog will let go pretty quickly, but we're not going to have much wind. So I think it's going to be interesting to see right along, like in the St. Johns River Basin where it's just lower. It's going to be interesting to me to see if that fog maybe lingers beyond about 7 or 8.
Now, our one saving grace might be that it's going to warm up pretty quick tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that should help with the mixing
Right.
To try to kind of dissipate that fog, at the latest, I'd say by 9 a.m. for most of us.
Can we just work outside tomorrow?
I know it's going to be gorgeous. Low dew point, so dry air, sunshine, temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. We got a high of about 76, 77 degrees tomorrow afternoon. And that is going to be the trend here for the foreseeable future as we kind of head over the next 5 days. It's really just going to be the sunshine and warmer weather, besides maybe on Friday. And we'll get to that just with regards to how warm it'll actually be. But Thursday, upper 70s, a warming breeze here. So high pressure going to slide just off to our east. And then here comes kind of our next system just on our northwestern horizon there. So there's the southwest winds kind of throughout the day on Thursday, pumping in some of the warmer air.
So what about those showers, maybe a thunderstorm, Atlanta, Birmingham?
Birmingham, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they could see a little bit there.
But it looks like it's
by the time it reaches us, I mean,
pretty consistent now, right? Almost with each day of models, less and less indications that we're going to get showers with. I'm very impressed with that computer model that I noticed it does where it has moisture and warmth, that is the Gulf Stream.
It fires up out there.
Yeah, fires up stuff, but that would indicate that energy gets transferred there. So yeah, it looks like most of the clouds with the front, probably won't really roll in until maybe late in the day or sunset.
Yeah, I would
and
say
then they'll be out of here by sunrise Friday.
Yep, Thursday evening to sunrise on Friday morning, the clouds roll in, but yeah, as you saw there and mentioned, I mean, there's not a whole lot of rain there. And
that's another shift we've seen looking back like 7-8 days ago when Friday was on the horizon of the outlook.
Oh, it looked like there could be like a potent system coming through.
There were some models showing, potent and cold system.
Yeah.
But I think everyone's going to notice a shift, but really just kind of a seasonable front, nothing too radical there.
Yeah, I mean, it'll drop our temperatures a little bit as you head into Friday, but certainly not polar air.
No. And for those who are doing the river run on Saturday, pretty good news because I think sometimes first-time runners can't appreciate the fact that especially if you're doing it for your first time, you just do not want a warm, humid day. And
It just like sucks the life right out of you.
it really does.
About mile 4 or 5.
And if you've done a few river runs, what I mean is where you're standing there rooting someone else on, it's 65 to 70, maybe a little humid. Feels good, right? You're maybe standing there in your shorts rooting on your buddy. But if you're out there running 9 miles, it's a whole different story. And so I think that's where I think that cool front, it's not going to be too crazy, but it's like almost like Goldilocks. Things were warming up Wednesday and Thursday, but now this is going to take temperatures down. I think this is just going to be a beautiful morning for.
And not too windy either
Yes,
way either.
right.
So
yes.
you don't have to worry about a headwind
Ross,
or anything.
I can tell you, there's been a few years going over that bridge where the woman I'm married to, I was afraid we were going to lose her because there's not a lot of weight to her, and there's been a couple river runs.
Thought she was just going to get picked up and toppled.
No, you're right, because
over.
as you know, the Hart Bridge, you get up to the top of that, and you start to feel some elevated winds. We've had some river runs where we've had some running into the wind, like a west wind gusting to over 35. Or we've had somewhere where it's coming straight down the river. It's like northeast.
Yeah, and you're getting
and
that,
those
like,
are probably the ones
crosswind.
I was really concerned about. Don't get too close to the rail.
Yeah.
Boo!
Well, so it's funny you say that. It always reminds me the one time and only time I've crossed the Brooklyn Bridge in New York, right there in the East River. We had to have had gusts of like 30 to 40, and I mean that's a fairly long bridge to have to cross. Mm-hmm. And although we're in the center and we're completely like safe where we're at, like I was kind of like,
it's interesting what you start thinking about. Yes.
Yeah, I'm with my friends. We're all like 6 foot, guys. Like we think we're probably fine, but I'm up there like I kind of feel like I need to hold on to something.
When you feel the vehicle, shaking around. But yeah, there's been a few years where, you could feel your body lift a leg up and sort of go. Whoop. So we will not have that problem this Saturday. That's for sure.
Well, so I want to look past this weekend then, right? So let's look ahead to next week and kind of the next weather maker.
The next weather maker. I like it. What is the next weather maker?
Potential storm system that could be on our way. Looks like time framing wise, next Tuesday into next Wednesday. So we're talking about a week away here now. There looks to be another pretty strong storm system that kind of spins up in the southern plains and Midwest. That will swing up towards the Great Lakes region. We're going to be on the tail end of this. And we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, Tim, that Tuesday we could see some prefrontal showers and things like that.
Maybe almost as the winds go from northeast to southeast, kind of the warm front.
Yes.
And I think we talked about that some of the models are putting a little low on that. That would make Tuesday wetter. But then some other models that we like aren't really
showing that as much.
Yeah, aren't showing nearly as vigorous of a warm front, but then a pretty vigorous front when it comes in from the west. So rain, and I guess at this point we can't rule out severe weather, right?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
especially
Wednesday.
Yeah, especially you look at just kind of the energy in some of the models, and then also the upper level winds. Both kind of seem conducive for the chance for at least some thunderstorms. I think at a minimum there next Wednesday. But
until then.
Yeah, until then, enjoy the sun and the warm temperatures there.
Yes.
Thursday, probably the warmest day here over the next 7. So Tim's got to go. I know he's got a surfing class here at 4:20. That
yes, in the future's
you're
so
planning
bright.
on just
I need
hopping
shade,
out in the ocean.
Yes.
Alrighty, well, soak up the sun out there, folks. He's Chief Meteorologist Tim Deegan. I am Meteorologist Ross Mumal. Take care and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.